Venice is a city unlike any other, built not on solid ground, but on water. For centuries, it was the wealthiest, most feared, and most mysterious republic in Europe, a city of secrets, masks, merchants, and empires. Welcome to Venice, the floating city that defied nature and ruled the seas. A city born from fear. Venice wasn't founded out of ambition. It was born out of desperation. In the 5th century, as barbarian tribes invaded Italy and the Roman Empire collapsed, terrified refugees fled to the swampy islands of the Venetian lagoon. There, in the mud and water, they built shelters. Wooden stakes were driven deep into the seabed. Over centuries, these islands became a city with no roads, only canals, no farmland, only trade. But what Venice lacked in land, it made up in vision. Rise of a maritime empire. By the 9th century, Venice was thriving. Its location between east and west made it the perfect trading hub, a gateway between the Byzantine Empire and Western Europe. From silk to spices, gold to glass, Venice controlled the flow of wealth from Constantinople to the courts of Paris and London. It was not just a city of merchants, it was a city of strategists. Venice mastered the sea. The Venetian arsenal, a massive shipbuilding complex, could produce a fully armed galley in a single day. At its peak, it employed over 16,000 workers, centuries ahead of modern assembly lines. Venice's merchant fleet wasn't just large, it was the backbone of its power, and with trade came influence, and with influence came colonies. Venice expanded across the Adriatic and the Mediterranean, from Crete to Cyprus, from the Dalmatian coast to parts of Greece. Venetian outposts flew the lion flag of St. Mark. They didn't conquer like other empires. They negotiated, bought, bribed, and only when needed, used force. Their navy was feared. The Fourth Crusade, originally meant to liberate the Holy Land, was redirected by Venice to sack Constantinople, one of the most shocking betrayals in Christian history. Venice didn't just fund the crusade, it hijacked it for profit. From the ruins of Constantinople, they brought back art, relics, and power, including the 4 bronze horses now standing atop St. Mark's Basilica. This was not just trade, it was empire by sea. Venice didn't rely on walls. The sea was its fortress, and the compass, its weapon. The most serene republic, Venice called itself La Serenissima, the most serene republic. But beneath that calm surface was a city governed by precision, paranoia, and politics. Unlike monarchies, Venice had no king. Power resided in the hands of the people, or so it seemed. The Doge, Venice's symbolic leader, was elected for life. But his power was tightly controlled, his movements restricted, his speeches written by committees. He was a ruler who could not rule alone. True control lay with the Council of 10, an elite, secretive group of nobles entrusted with protecting the state. They answered to no one. They could imprison without trial. They could order executions. They could make people disappear. And they had eyes everywhere. In Venice, fear was a form of governance. Anonymous accusations could be dropped into bocche di leone, mouths of the lion, stone letterboxes hidden in alleyways, citizens spying on citizens, justice without a face. And yet, the system worked. For over 1,000 years, Venice avoided civil war, dynastic chaos, or foreign occupation. It remained calm, serene on the surface. But beneath, a machine of silent power, always turning. Culture, wealth, and masks. Venice didn't just build ships, it built beauty. With wealth flowing from the east, the city became a masterpiece of art, architecture, and indulgence. Palaces lined the Grand Canal, rising from water like painted dreams. The scent of perfumes and the sound of gondoliers echoed through the alleys. This was the city of Titian, who gave color to the Renaissance, of Vivaldi, who composed the rhythm of the lagoon, of Canaletto, who captured the city in brushstrokes that still dazzle today. But Venice wasn't only a gallery, it was a stage. The opera was born here, so was modern publishing, and no place threw a better party than Venice's carnival. During carnival, everyone wore masks, nobles, commoners, lovers, spies. Behind silk and porcelain, social class vanished. Secrets passed unnoticed. Deals were made. Affairs began. Crimes were hidden. A city of masks, hiding 1,000 truths. The glassmakers of Murano crafted treasures that rivaled the jewels of kings. Venice guarded their techniques so closely that leaving the island as a glassmaker was once punishable by death. Venice didn't just thrive, it seduced. A city that whispered instead of shouted, and whose elegance disguised its ruthless grip on power. Decline and survival. But like all empires, Venice declined. New trade routes bypassed the Mediterranean. The once mighty fleet became obsolete. Napoleon conquered Venice in 1797, ending 1,000 years of independence. The city changed hands, Austria, then Italy, but its soul remained. Venice survived floods, war, and even mass tourism. It became a symbol of beauty and fragility. Unique facts and must-visit places. Venice has no cars, no traffic lights, no rumbling engines or horns, just canals, gondolas, and footsteps echoing through ancient alleys. Time in Venice doesn't rush. It drifts, like the water beneath its bridges. The city is made up of 118 islands, connected by over 400 bridges. And yet, it feels like one seamless dream, floating between reality and legend. St. Mark's Basilica is the city's crown jewel, a golden cathedral shimmering with mosaics and marble. A blend of Byzantine opulence and Western ambition, it houses relics said to be the bones of St. Mark himself, smuggled from Egypt in barrels of pork to escape Muslim detection. Beside it stands the Doge's Palace, where Venice's rulers once governed, judged, and sentenced. Within its walls, power wore a mask of elegance, but behind the curtains, justice was swift and absolute. Its secret passageways and prison cells still whisper of plots and power plays. Walk a little farther, and you'll cross the Rialto Bridge, the oldest and most iconic crossing of the Grand Canal. Once the city's main marketplace, it buzzed with spices, silks, and shouts in dozens of languages. Today, it offers one of the most breathtaking views of the city's watery spine. Don't miss Murano, the island of fire and glass, where artisans still create masterpieces using centuries-old techniques. Or Burano, where fishermen's homes are painted in bright colors so vivid, legend says they could be seen from the sea through fog. And finally, the Bridge of Sighs, a white limestone passage between the interrogation rooms of the Doge's Palace and the cold prison cells across the canal. It's said that prisoners would take one last look at the city through its narrow window and sigh. Did you know? Venice is sinking, about 1–2 millimeters per year, but it's also rising, in spirit, art, and legend. A place that shouldn't exist, and yet, somehow, does. A city that shouldn't exist. Venice shouldn't exist. Built on water, born in mud, it defied logic, nature, even time itself. No fertile land, no strong walls, no solid ground, and yet, it rose. A republic without kings, an empire without an army of conquest, a city that ruled with trade, diplomacy, and unmatched beauty. From the swamps of the lagoon, Venice built palaces. From the sea, it forged power, and from chaos, it created serenity. This is not just a city, it's a miracle of human will, still standing, still shining, still whispering its stories through canals and stone. Love untold history and legendary cities? Subscribe, like, and join us as we uncover the past, one extraordinary place at a time.